This is going to be a video and a reading about the next astrological events. We are in Gemini, so our sun, the source, is in Gemini. We will have in 9 of June Jupiter, the planet of abundance, moving into the sign of Cancer. And you see here a symbol of the moon. It means that the ruler of Cancer is the moon. And it happens that we will have a full moon, the harvest of this full moon, in 11 of June, and this time it's going to be in Sagittarius. That Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, as you see here. So these two planets, it's like they are in each other's sign, and this is for the first time in 12 years. It's not happening very often. The full moon is also called a strawberry moon. The date it's not correct because this is still a display I made for 2024, but the name of the full moon in June remains the same. The moon as such in Sagittarius, in Tarot, it's also associated with a card of 9 of Wands. It's a sign of fire, which is the story of Basilica, I think. I'm going to check for the stories in short time. Then Jupiter is in Cancer, but it happens that we also have Mercury in Cancer, and Mercury is also ruling Gemini, where we have our Sun. And for Mercury in Cancer, we also have the Three of Cups as the card associated in Tarot. And for Sun in Gemini, it will be in the last decan of Gemini. It's going to be the sub-ruler, and interesting enough, it's going to be the card 10 of Swords. If some of you are following me, you know that this is the story of Sedna, and Sedna is in Gemini, and this is a kind of bridge to the next big event when Uranus also is going to move into Gemini. We have to keep in mind that Gemini is the house of communication. So something very important is going to happen regarding our communication. Jupiter, as being the biggest planet in our solar system, is changing sign. We also need to remember that we had two planets, Neptune and Saturn, move into Aries. I also have videos about this. I will link them below. And with this arrangement, Jupiter actually is square this planet in Aries, and I also had a video about Aries being in Aries, the discord that can bring accord if we know how to communicate. So they are all very nicely connected, and for me, this communication, it's between our Cancer and our Sagittarius energy. You can check in your chart where you have this, in which house, and also if you have other planets there are influence. But in a way, it's like our heart and our mind. The communication, the idea of Gemini, the two here, don't have necessarily to be two people, but it can be our heart and our mind, and to see how we communicate, what is our internal dialogue, and with that, maybe thinking of Sedna gives us the lesson of the eye of the storm, and we are going to be taken apart, like it happened that the father cut her fingers, in order to transform. We need to remove all the filters that we have about ourselves, about who we truly are. With Cancer, we connect also to past experience, and with Aries, we also have new beginnings, and then we look at the harvest with a full moon. It's like a new start point, and we have to use the wisdom from our experience from the past in order to go further. it's all the emotions, the previous imprints of our emotion that can also be a filter. We need to remove them as much as possible. And then with the Sagittarius full moon to get new perspectives. All these three combined, Aries and Cancer and Sagittarius, we are going into uncharted territory that takes us out of our comfort zone. And the only way to do that is become friends with our mind and our heart, or create a good communication between the two of them. And with the three, I was thinking of our soul, or the source as such, then is here. So that could be the three elements: the source, the mind, the heart. And I will also link the video that I did last year with full moon in Sagittarius and then with Jupiter moving into Gemini, because at that point I also used the magic square, and the magic square of Jupiter, it's happened to be 4 times 4, and I will make it as a kind of tradition now. So I will use now 16 tarot cards. I will come with an affirmation, and for me the main affirmation for this event will be to remove the filters that we are using in our inner dialogue. Of course, it's important how we communicate with the exterior, with other people in our life, but I think it's more important if we are honest about the inner dialogue. Look at these two beautiful birds and the light that it's coming in, the light of the source, the same beautiful symbol. What comes from the heart, it's distributed all over around you. So these are going to be the cards. Of course, I left the 3 cards that we already had from Tarot. I will check one by one. So for the square, we have the 6 of Swords. For Neptune, we have the 9 of Wands, which is already here. So this was Neptune, and the 9 of Wands was the moon in Sagittarius. These two are connected. For Saturn, we have the 10 of Swords. Wow, the 10 of Swords, which is here. The story of Sedna. Yes, Saturn with the restrictions. And for Aries, we have the 3 of Wands. Then for the Sun, we have the King of Wands. For Gemini, we have the 6 of Wands, a lot of fire energy, but that's maybe normal. We had Aries and Sagittarius. Then we have the 10 of Swords again, and not even that we have them 2 times, but they are just one under the other. And now I see I took out the Sun. The Sun was a number 9, and it was associated with the 10 of Swords, and the Moon is a number 10, is associated with the 9 of Wands. And for the 3rd house, we have the card of 8 of Cups, communication. For Jupiter, we have the Page of Coins. So now we have some abundance, some earthly energy. For Cancer, we have the 8 of Swords. I'm not going to take reverse. For Mercury, we have 5 of Cups. Wow. And then we had the 3 of Cups. So here in this line, some water energy. The Cancer was water. For the Moon, we have 2 of Coins. For the full moon, we have the Ace of Swords. For Sagittarius, we have 7 of Wands. And then we had a 9 of Wands. So this is going to be our magic square. Just quickly to check the energies, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the energy of fire, 2 times the energy of earth. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the energy of air, and then 1, 2, 3 times the energy of water. So primordial fire, then air, then water, and then Earth. Let's look at the magic square. Here you have the image of the magic square, and the idea is to create a symbol, a sigil for you to use it if you have some sentence, a short sentence to help you focus on what you want to create, what kind of abundance, because we had Jupiter, the planet of abundance, with the energy of the moon in Sagittarius, or Jupiter in Cancer, or the sun in Gemini, about the communication, or about the energy of Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Wherever inspires you, create your own sentence and then just send me a message or a comment on this video, and I will create the symbol for you in the same way I'm going to do with the affirmation that I had in mind, which is remove filters, because I said that for me this seems the most important thing with this energy. The filters that you have in your inner dialogue, the dialogue between your mind and your heart, and even with the source as such, so that this Three of Cups was a symbolic card, let's say. And how I do this, then for every letter I have a number. Of course, the numbers, if you remember the magical square, they go from 1 to 16. So we have a number higher than 16, we'll reduce it. Let's say 17 becomes 8 and so on. So then our numbers will be 8, 5, 13, 15, 3, 5, 6, 9, 12, 10, 5, 8, 9. And then I look in the square, and then we start from 8, we go to 5, we go to 13, we go to 15. You got the idea, and this is what it comes. This will be a kind of geometrical symbol for you. You can get the action to remove whatever filters you have. What I also found interesting is that we have a lot of number 5 and 8 and 9, but that means the number 5 here was the position of Jupiter, then the Sun, and the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is really the card of abundance. The idea of Jupiter and the abundance, maybe these are the filters that we have to remove, that we don't deserve abundance, of that there is not enough for everybody. And now I will take the cards from this magic square and I will change their position so we create our sentence. So the cards that remain from our magic square will be the Three of Cups, which is actually, like I said, the card of abundance. The Page of Coins, which is actually the personification of earth. The abundance is for all of us on this earth. There is enough. Then we have the Nine of Wands, which we said that was associated with the moon in Sagittarius, which is actually the Lord of great strength. This story of Vasilia with her small doll that helps her, it really shows a lot of strength. Then we have the Ten of Swords, which this time was the Lord of Ruin, but associated with the story of, we have it here again, with the story of Sedna, which is, like I mentioned, Sun in Gemini, the dismembration in order to remember or to put our members back, remember, so then we transform. We need to go through this. We have the strength, we have the abundance. Now we just have to put ourselves together. And I think the symbol of Sedna, which is with an orbit of, I think, 11,000 years, and even Sedna changed sign, it's like such a deeper layer. We really, like, we remove filters, but in the story of Sedna, the father is removing her fingers from the boat and just let go. And we don't know what's coming because we said are uncharted territories. But we have the strength, and this is the way we are going to be transformed. And then she becomes the goddess of the sea. Just find a goddess in you, actually. Then we have the Seven of Wands, which is the Lord of Valor. So then you discover the real value, your real value. And then again, maybe you need to repeat the process of dismembering of the transformation. But then you get this King of Wands, which is actually also Sagittarius, the personification of fire. You have the unstoppable power of exploration. The heart is shining. All the actions are now from the heart. And then you have the Eight of Cups, which is the Lord of abundant success. With that heart, you leave behind wherever you thought was success, and you are looking for new adventures, because whatever used to bring you pleasure, it's not there anymore. Then you get again this card of abundance. You come back to the abundance, to the reality of King of Wands again. So then you discover the true abundance that is in you, the power that is in you, the strength that is in you. And actually, you become unstoppable, I will say. If you properly use these energies that are coming, it's not that we are obliged to use them. We don't even have to know necessarily in which house it's going to happen, or to know too much about astrology. It's just about feeling the energies. They are trying to tell you something, and I try here to put them in words with the use of cards, and these beautiful cards that are so much about the heart and so little about the mind. Just look at the image and take it in. It starts with abundance and with this King of Wands, which is you. And this is the Sagittarius, the explorer. We are going to explore new uncharted territories with the power of this earth, with the abundance that is there, with the strength that we have, with the transformation we have to go through. New event, Uranus in Gemini, I think will even push us to transform if we like it or not. So all this and the new values, the new pleasures that we will find in life, it's like everything is going to change. I think I will have to end up reading you shortly that story in case you don't know, because I think it's very important how this girl found the strength to get the fire, Sagittarius, Aries, this fire that we need to become the King of Wands, to become the explorer, to shine our light. A merchant and his wife had a sweet and kind daughter known as Vasilisa the Beautiful. When Vasilisa was still young, her mother died. On her deathbed, she gave her daughter a small wooden doll and told her to give the doll a little to drink and a little to eat, and the doll will comfort her. Time passed, and the merchant married a woman with 2 daughters. The stepmother was jealous that Vasilisa was preferred by the young man over her own daughters, so the stepmother set out to be rid of her. When the merchant left on a long trip, Vasilisa's stepmother moved the 4 of them to a gloomy hut in the forest. She then put out all the fires in the house and asked Vasilisa to go fetch light from their neighbor, Baba Yaga. Gain comfort from her doll, Vasilisa traveled the dark woods to Baba Yaga's home, a house on chicken legs and surrounded by a fence topped with human skulls full of light. As a terrified Vasilisa waited outside the fence, finally the old crone Baba Yaga herself rode up in her mortar. Baba Yaga agreed to give Vasilisa fire, but only if she completed some impossible task. If Vasilisa couldn't complete them, she would be killed. Vasilisa began to fret as she attempted the task, for she was unable to separate poppy seeds from a pile of dirt or rotten corn from good corn in a single day. But when all hope seemed lost, her little doll told Vasilisa to sleep, for she will do all the work. And then, of course, she completed the task, she got the light, and she went back home. And when she arrived back at the hut, the skull magically burned her stepmother and stepsisters to ashes. But the idea is that this trust in this wooden doll that she got from her mother, that was her inner power. Something that you just know, something you believe in, something that it's for anybody from outside without any value. And that keeps you going, and that brings magic in your life, because the doll did the magic. And all she needed was this little bit of water and a little bit of food, almost no attention. She didn't ask for anything, she just gave it. And that's maybe the inner power in us, which just waits there if we trust it, and then the magic happens. And by getting the light, the light then destroy everything that was unhealthy, what was low energy. And in this card, I'm not going to read all the story, but Apsaras, a Cambodian Hindu mythology, they are all goddesses, and one of them fall in love with a mortal, and she give her immortality to be with him. That could be our starseed background, and we are going to remember that we are also divine. All memories will come back to us, and remember, I mentioned that with these energies that we have now, it's important to take from our past the wisdom, with the Akashic records and remembering other lifetimes. Just take the wisdom, and then with that wisdom from the past, and not all the stories and all the drama, move ahead on these new territories. I hope these cards and the messages resonate with you. If you have your own sentence you want to focus in, just send me a message and look inside at the inner dialogue that you have and make choices with your heart. Thank you for watching.